coverage is certified PG. Pretty great.
It's Anomaly Presents with your friends, the Podcastronauts.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Hi, everybody. We're back. It's the Anomaly Presents podcast, the podcast about the genre movies that inspired the Anomaly genre, Rochester Genre Film Festival. It's been a minute since we've done this, so I might be a little rusty, but that's okay. So this is Anomaly Presents. We are a podcast about genre movies. This one tonight we're talking about is not one that really inspired it. It might go the other way around. Like it's, if you like Anomaly, you probably like The Substance. So this movie has been kind of bouncing around in 75% of our brains for a couple months now. 25% of us just watched it this morning. You'll find out who in just a minute. So let's get right to it. I will introduce our guest in our podcastronauts. We have a guest tonight. That's how excited. This has been so long in the making because I ran into our guest and she was like, we have to talk about this. We need to get together. I need to get this out of my brain. And that legitimately was in what, October? September? Yeah. So, I'm sorry we've left it sit and fester this long, Jackie.
Jackie, it's there forever. Yeah, it's there forever. So it wouldn't matter. It's fine.
Tonight was hopefully the night for catharsis, but we'll see. We've got Jackie McGriff, filmmaker, photographer, Our Voices Project, one of my favorite people on the planet, with us tonight to talk about The Substance, along with our podcastronauts, some of my other favorite people on the planet. We've got KP.
Hey, everybody. I am also ready to just, I guess, explode and get rid of the feelings that this movie have lingered for months.
And our neophyte to The Substance, Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan. Give me all of your feelings. I'm going to soak in this movie forever.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I think we'll start just kind of because it's fun to talk about. Let's start with how we felt after we saw it. We can, I'll go quick and then we'll go around. I went to see it with our friend Stromy and his wife Carrie in a theater, and it absolutely blew my mind. But we stumbled out afterwards, not knowing really what we had seen. It was still washing over us. I'm happy slash
that choice of words.
I'm happy slash embarrassed to say that it was maybe about half full, the theater, and Chris and I were the only ones that laughed in certain parts. I think that was appropriate, but I don't 100% know still. But yeah, it was a roller coaster. And then I think it was the next night ran into Jackie. Jackie, what was your experience?
Okay. So I think, well, at least most of the people I'm here in the podcast with, the I'm trying to say it, podcastronauts. Is that what I said?
Yeah, it took me
great.
like 6
Awesome.
years. It's cool.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I'm sure y'all have heard the story, but for those who are listening, so I of course love movies. I wouldn't be here if I didn't love movies. So on my birthday is in September. I was like, you know what? I really want to sit in a movie theater. I want to watch a movie. I'm going to go to the Little. And I'm looking at all of the choices, and it was one of two movies. It was either, okay, I go watch Sing Sing and be sad, or I go watch The Substance and be weirded out. Like, I knew it was going to be a weird movie, and I do love weird movies. Though it was my, I think, first time in a body horror film or watching a body horror film. So I definitely wasn't sad. The goal was not to be sad on my birthday, and I got my wish. Again, be careful what you wish for. And so I was like, okay, throughout about, like, I want to say the 2/3 of the movie, I'm like, okay, it's the kind of weird that I was expecting. I'm like, okay, it's about the substance. I watched the trailer at least, right? Before watching said film. That last third though.
Yeah.
I think stumbling, I think Matt, when you said stumbling, I think that was exactly the appropriate thing. Because well, first of all, I didn't know I did not move. Okay, during the credits, the end credits are rolling, and I'm like, I don't know what to do now. Do I just sit here and kind of just let it all kind of sink in? Do I leave because I really don't know what to make of especially those last 15 minutes? I don't know. I'm like, okay, so we get the message, right? It's a very clear message, right? But it's done in such a way that I'm still sitting here. It's been how many months? 3 4 months or whatever.
Yeah,
4
about
months?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months. And it's still it's still in my head there. So that was my experience. So like I said, I was not sad at all. And that, like I said, was the goal. So happy
What?
birthday to me.
What a birthday movie! Oh my gosh. KP, we'll go with you next.
Yeah, we got to bring
what was
on
your
home with
experience?
our freshest brain. So you had told me about it, and you had given me a heads up. Hey, you're gonna feel like you watched Titan, so don't watch it at night. And you're probably gonna have to sit with it. So sure enough, I got up early on a Sunday and ate my breakfast and watched The Substance, and then was just sitting with those feelings all day from whatever next thing I had gone to the next thing, to the next thing. So, yeah, definitely appreciate the heads up.
Well, we had learned our lesson. We saw Titan together.
Yes.
And it was another one where we just kind of walked out zombie-like. Just what just happened? So
spent
yeah,
45 minutes of debriefing in the Little's parking lot, and then went about our day. Well, went home to sleep.
Went home to sleep, and we're further haunted by it. You, me, and Dan were all just, I don't know what we did just now, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very much the French, man. Holy cow.
French women have a lot of things to say.
Yeah. And do it with a style and panache that is absolutely unmatched. I don't know if you can do it if you tried. Meg.
Yes.
What's your experience with The Substance?
Well, I mean, okay, so we know that I just saw it today, and I have been very frustrated that I have not been able to see it before, because every little piece of like information or visual or description, even the ones that were like, what the hell, or that was too weird, made me go, this is my movie. This is my movie. And turns out, as I'm sitting here watching this afternoon, yes, this is very much my movie. I like movie, like not every movie, but if a movie breaks my brain in a particular way, if I feel like I have to put stuff back together at the end, I like that sometimes, and I particularly liked it here.
Hey Meg.
It had all the visuals I like.
Hey Meg.
Oh yeah.
There's a loud sound happening.
Okay, I'm gonna mute me.
Okay.
Not you.
Okay, me too.
It might be me.
No worries.
It's okay.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, so I kind of like, I was hoping at that point I was on the other end where I'm like, well, what if I don't like it as much as I think I've convinced myself I will? But it turns out I love it. I love everything. It's got glitter. It's got goo. It's got blood and boobs. Lots of boobs. More than you would think, and in places you weren't expecting. And that is all like, yes to every single thing. The movie was like every scene visually. It has like, it's like Pop Rocks on my brain. Like,
Yep.
It's like it's made visually specifically to go, oh, I like this. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Ooh, look at that color use. Look at that color use. Did you see that composition? And then it got gooey. So I
An
love
all-around
this film, but I
masterpiece.
understand. Yeah, I understand why it's not for everyone. I for sure understand because some movies are very specific, and I've got very specific little switches. And this, for some reason, this movie just flipped a bunch of them.
Well, going off of why you love it, like visually, you can tell that what's her name, Coralie Farge. That I never took French, so apologies. But like you can tell, like just truly how intentional she is about everything. And they only had about, I think, 90 days of shooting, and then they spent a month in the lab. And basically, that was like with all the prosthetics and being like doing a lot of up close shots where it was just a much smaller crew. And they got to do like all the goopy gooey stuff and all of that. So you can see like how intentional it is. Like even for the body prosthetics, like for Demi, where she's like lying on the bathroom floor, that's a body prosthetic because everything is practical. And she was so clear in how she had written this that she knew she wasn't going to need legs because of the framing. So when she worked with, it's Pop FX is the she worked with for all this stuff. She was like, yeah, we don't need to build the body prosthetic with legs because we're never going to see them. So like,
I appreciate that kind of. Listen, why waste time on legs? I'm like, no, use that. Take that money towards blood. You need all the blood money for the end.
If you watch a behind the scenes that movie did, that's about 30 minutes. They show the behind the scenes bit of that last big thing, and it's just a giant fire hose of blood, and all the crew is dressed in ponchos like they're going the Maid of the Mist.
Oh man.
Really does just turn into a Gallagher show. It's just oh my god.
And they had all the actors, the extras at the end, covered in blood, and then getting the blood out of their shoes and everything. So
amazing.
So, but yes, how intentional she is about everything is I think is what took this to another level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the design for me almost feels like Bizarro Barbie at a certain point.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Where it is completely taking place in a dollhouse. Like everything is just, the billboard right outside the window that keeps changing. The fact that the name of the show is The Show, the big show. There's just no it's totally a little kid's version of this stuff. It's very fairy tale.
And I think part of it was
go
ahead.
I was like every set feels so uncomfortable for a human to move in. That apartment, why would you live there? The long hallway, like I started feeling sick at that long hallway. Every bathroom is a nightmare. Why would you do that? But I love that because it makes it like an uncomfortable world that like our main character does not like fit. Well, no one does. No one fits into this world. It's all for aesthetics. It's not a human world.
Yep. Well, she had so she purposefully decided to film in France, and so she wanted to get that LA vibe, which is kind of funny. And she just basically says like, I needed a palm tree, and then you knew it was like LA. But like, the star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all these little things, and then it kind of forces her to be more creative. And I think that's also lending itself to the Barbie version of LA. And then you get that. And Margaret Qualley, like all of her design, she looks like kind of 80s Barbie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like with the leotards and how her hair is done and the bright colors.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the bright colors really it really messes with you. I mean, this is always my thing, is like I'm constantly telling people whenever I'm talking about movies and everything, or at least we're talking about behind the scenes, it's like every single person who works on a film is a filmmaker, because you have the actors, you have the director, you have the screenwriter and everything, but also too it's the production people, it's the art design, it's the art department really, that also too, combined with the composer and everyone else who works on the film, you're also telling a part of that story too. So it's like you're watching this, like you said, it's set in a dollhouse. It's really just, it gives you that, again, that really artificial, superficial look and everything. And it's the colors that really do that to you. So yeah, like you're really thrown into that world, and yeah, it really just makes it so. I do appreciate that.
That
Yeah.
hallway in the
Oh,
office building there, that long
yeah.
hallway
Yeah.
just has such an anxiety for me at least,
Yeah.
just filled me with so much anxiety because it's just such a fun house angle with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vertical line. It just feels like it goes on for
It,
ages.
it feels like The Shining. It's got that shining
Yes.
yellow in the carpeting. I was like, oh, nah.
Some of, like,
Nothing
super
good ever
natural
happens
feeling.
down one of these hallways. Nope.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like,
Well,
even
yeah.
if you're, like, full of yourself, just walking down a long, uncomfortable hallway with giant pictures of yourself?
It's
Like,
it's either for a certain kind of person, it's either the best thing that's ever happened
Right.
or the worst. And that's the thing. It kind of, you see the moment where it turns, like this was incredible. And now it's just,
a reminder.
it's a hall of
Yeah.
mirrors,
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I like that idea of set as character too, because as we are learning about Elizabeth, who is Demi's character, though these are both her, which we'll get into later about how like this is all her, even though she keeps dividing it.
Mhm.
Giant photo of herself younger on her wall.
Mm.
How is that ever comfortable? And the answer is it's not. She has this giant ass, larger than life photo of herself in the apartment watching over her, and then later staring at the younger version of her on the
Yes.
billboard. And I'm like, right there, she's caught. They're both, and they're both her, caught
Right.
in the middle of these both sides of her that hate each other because she hates herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, oh, look at that, look at that set. Oh, it's telling me stuff. It's giving me character stuff. Ooh. Let me
Oh
read
my
it.
gosh.
Oh.
Well, can we like it's the part also too that actually surprised me the most, because the goal was not to be sad, but there was a sad part. There was a sad part because this guy who clearly she didn't want anything to do with at first, right? And then she has this chance to, she's like, you know what, I'm gonna be open, I'm gonna go out on this date.
Yeah.
I'm like getting emotional actually just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you look again, like, okay, she's getting excited. There's someone who like wants to, spend some time with her, and so she's getting ready for this date. She looks gorgeous. I'm sitting there, I'm like, you look amazing. And then before she leaves, she takes that one look at herself in the mirror, doesn't like, because she's constantly got, again, like you're saying, Megan, she's got these reminders that are all around her that are saying she's not good enough. So then she goes back to the mirror. It's that back and forth of going back to the bathroom. And then her finally just giving up and be like, I'm not going to leave because I don't feel like I look good. Like I look good enough. And then if that wasn't enough, the text we're seeing now, the text of him like, hey, where are you? Is everything okay? Like, I could have screamed. I could have screamed because I was sitting there. Now, mind you, I'm also sitting in the theater, so I couldn't. Right? Because if I would have been sitting at my apartment, being like, I would have been screaming. But I'm sitting there like, you look great. You look great. You look great. You look fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fine. It's fine. And like I just could. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about like. Again, because she hates herself, because she can't stand the look, because she's also playing a comparison game with herself. I mean, how many times as women have we thought back to like how I used to look, how much I used to weigh, how my life used to be, how I used to think of myself, and everything like that, or comparing oneself to how you used to be rather than loving the person you are right now. And like I go through that all the time, and I see that all the time, and we see that as women just in general. But then also too is like I'm reminded of it, when I'm out there taking photos of women, and that's the constant thing. It's like I haven't even picked up my camera yet, and women are already like, I'm not good enough for photos, or I'm not photogenic.
Yeah, and you're looking at them like you're fantastic. Like you don't see what I see,
right? Yeah. And it's that thing. It's like, and that's where this is what I loved about this was because it throws you right back into that, right? But then it also like because you're looking at it, you're going, you look drop dead gorgeous. What is the issue? But how many times do we do that to ourselves?
Yeah, it felt like it was like herself, but also like the industry she's in, her age, like plays this factor in that. Like she's literally hearing him say, like, yeah, we don't need her. Like we need somebody young and hot. And so I think what also was interesting to me in this is like, right, she has no friends. She's very solitary.
Yeah.
She's all alone in this like kind of mausoleum of an apartment, and she has no one else to be like, what are you talking about? You know, or like bounce these
Yeah.
feelings off
Yeah.
of. She just has her and younger her, maybe, you know, who just like they don't even like each other. So it's like
I would even add on that it's not even just younger her, it's idealized her. It's
Yeah.
the whole thing with substance is
Yeah.
the better you.
Yeah.
So it's a view that didn't even ever exist because
Yeah.
it's impossible. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing that what she can't let go. What she can't let go because she keeps kind of like tiptoeing up to, hey, maybe you should stop this. This is getting bad. But
Yeah.
she can't because I think she's looking at a possibility, even knowing
Yeah.
that she's not going to experience it. You don't share memories.
No.
Like that's the weirdest thing. I thought like, oh, they like share memories, so you're living like every 7 days they switch, right? No, you're just like dead on a floor on the
Yeah.
tile floor, so, but still not be able to let go of. Well, maybe because it's that
Yeah.
maybe that lives in a lot of our heads. Well, maybe if I just exercised more, ate better, like it's
Yeah.
that thing that'll never happen and doesn't need to happen, but because you're being sold it so much. Because being sold it so much, it like lives in your head, and the substance brings it out,
Yeah.
and that is horrific, you know?
The other thing I found interesting is a lot of times I think of when I talk to people, current self versus future self, right? Like, and how that affects the decisions you make, like, right? And that goes back like, am I going to eat? How am I going to eat? Am I going to exercise? Am I going to smoke? Or am I going to drink? Am I going to make things easier for future me because I see us as one person, as opposed to what's often very common is, and I have played victim to this myself, where I say, this is future me's problem.
Yeah.
I don't know who she is, but good luck and Godspeed. Where I'm treating future me as somebody else, which is not healthy and doesn't help in the long run. And it was kind of interesting to see that kind of play out in a way. Like, yes, it's the idealized version, right? But like as a younger version of yourself too, you're just like, I'm hot, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna party, I'm gonna go have sex with a stranger, like I'm gonna just go out and have a good time and not think of, this is like future me may not be having a good time because I did not take care of myself. Like,
Young me's taking all my spinal fluid.
It's taking everything from me.
I mean, who among us can't relate to that?
Oh my god!
But I love how visceral this movie makes those ideas
Yes.
of like cannibalizing yourself for something that doesn't actually exist anyway. I was like, oh, I love that.
I think,
and I guess I love that's why I'm sure we'll talk about it later. How when we get to this third version of her, the Monstro Eliza Sue, how actually that one seems the most like accepting of herself, but that's because her anger is outwards. And we finally see her because once she's beaten the crap out of her one version of herself, right? And yet is now desperate because turns out you can never be perfect enough.
Yeah.
You know, she's less than a year old, this perfect version, and it's already over, right? So I love that this third version is the version that's like, you know what? I'm going to put these earrings wherever they fit on my giant head. I'm going to put on this blue frilly dress, which was beautiful. I'll put on a little face so everyone will think I'm somebody. I kind of love that because that felt very much like, why don't you see it's me? That version knows it's her. It's so interesting. No other one says it's me. She says it's me. I'm Elizabeth. I'm Sue. The one version of herself who knew that she was herself was the one that was like dealing with all the consequences of not understanding that, you know?
Yeah, it's that moment of acceptance that you get.
Yeah.
Now,
It's
it's
the true idealized version. The true idealized version with the third or what the second go around of the substances is like, I don't need anybody else's. Like, everyone else's opinion of me doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Why can't everyone else see who I know I am? And it's sad that it came at this point where like, and you still have Elizabeth's face herself on the back, which is interesting because this has not happened before, where there's that part of her that started this all is aware this is all happening, but can't do anything about it except like at a certain point, consequences, you don't get to have a say on this anymore. You know, she's in the FO part.
Exactly.
So many times could have turned around where I'm like, girl, just stop. You can stop at any time. You can stop at any time.
But she couldn't. And that's the tragedy. This is all as much as like, what's this company? It's weird. What's it? And we could talk about, like, I'm sure it's you know, the idea of like diet culture or weight loss drugs or Botox, right? It's also interesting that like it facilitates this, but it is not make the choice. In the end, she's writing her own tragedy because she can't stop. Like, this was a choice. It's interesting. She's not tricked into it. She's not even like coerced. Because at first I thought, oh, the work would coerce her. No, this is literally just some guy at the ER who looks like a mannequin slipped a note in her pocket, but she's already to the point of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it feels like, right, it's very much a fairy tale, right? Like,
Yeah,
even the rules set up, like, the overall
yeah.
structure of the story, more in the vein of, like, I think of, like, Donkey Skin Girl, which is,
yeah, because there's fairy tale
like the visceral
rules that are laid
grossness of it
out.
all.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's like, yep, you got 7 days and you need to follow
Yeah.
the rules, and like this is the repercussion of the fact that you don't love or see yourself like that you're one person. We have very simple rules for you to follow and you're not following them, so now here are the consequences.
Shout out to the graphic design there, because they visually spell it out very simply for us. So as an audience, we're not bogged down by learning the rules, but we're finding it out as our main character is. They're very easy, like it's like Impact or a font like that, which I'm like, mwah. We see this like even the way the equipment is designed, like as she's learning to use it, we are understanding like, oh, those are 7 capsules, 7 days, and we can count time now when we see the capsules. I'm like, what great visual design, so we can follow along. Like, oh no, those are too many. Oh no, those are you're reusing.
That's not 7. That's not 7. That's not 7.
And then we can notice when it's coming out wrong. We know along with the character, like, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
Oh no, all those food packets.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But it's storytelling that isn't just like it's showing you as how it's telling you, which I appreciate. They're like, the movie's like, you'll figure it out. You got it. And I'm like, I do. Thank you, movie.
She leaned into that a lot more because there's not a lot of dialogue, right? So like the visual aspects of it need to do heavy lifting in addition to like the actors carrying it, like because you think Demi Moore doesn't really have a lot of other scene partners. She's just acting literally with herself, and I don't mean other her. I mean she's literally it's her herself, and she's got to carry the weight of that story through most of this alone.
Oh my! Just the journey she goes on. I mean, to pick out one scene that I was cackling, and this is good that I was cackling during, is the whole almost like Baba Yaga Stregonona witch scene where she's like cooking and yelling at this pre-recorded version of the younger her. I was like,
hilarious.
I feel like I can understand that. Like, it's me. You got this all for me. She's making the grossest food. And like moving the spine, there's a lot of spinal imagery in this film.
Yeah.
And I loved it because it's like, both the idea of like sometimes you punish if depending on how you handle, you punish yourself with food.
Yes.
Like you go, well, the hell with it. I'll just, so that felt real, but also like, and I'm going to make a mess for you, my perfect self that I'll never be. And I just felt it because it was very like literally visceral. She tore viscera out of a turkey as she's almost destroying herself. I'm like, yo, anger cooking is real. And I felt it real hard. She was just so good in that. And she's almost like literally she's hunched over at that point because that's where her body is.
Yeah.
She is the witch. Like she's gotten to the crone part of this like maiden mother crone situation going on. And I was like, oh, that imagery is good. And also cackling.
and you know what? I can't imagine anyone. I don't know if I could have imagined anyone else playing this. So like when we were talking before, KP, about seeing, I guess like there was an interview or something with all the Charlie's Angels from Full Throttle, and they're talking about their experiences, and they're talking about this movie, and there is this. I'm remembering back to like when that movie came out. So Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. I was also someone who was very much like, I love this. I want to see this. Oh my gosh. And I just remember all of the articles that came out during that time where it's like people are talking about Demi's comeback and how amazing she looks at the age that she is. And so, like, when you mentioned that, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, of course. There is a certain age in this industry where you are no longer seen as desirable. But if you look a certain way at a certain age, oh my gosh, how brave, how amazing. This is your comeback time. When really she's been here the whole time. She's been here the whole
Just
time.
crushing it.
Right, just crushing it. But because she looks a certain way, and because her body looks a certain way, now it's like, oh my gosh, no, we need to talk about like how just incredible she looks. Everything is about how she looks, not about how her life has been, not how, about her acting per se. No, it's not about any of it. It's just how amazing she looks in a bikini, and how surprised folks are that she looks the way that she looks at the age that she is. And it just goes back to that, right? It's like at a certain age, it's, we're, as much as we talk about, we're talking about, again, hating yourself, is also the external part of that. Of course, that's not helping, but it's also the industry that she's in. Like a certain age, you're disposable.
Yeah.
Like you don't look like the perfection or the standard, right, that we want.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, well, either you play a mother, or like an older mother, someone's grandmother, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can't. I'm sorry, but at that age, like you can no longer look, or you can no longer be someone who's going to be desirable.
Yeah.
It's.
I just looked up how old she was when Charlie's Angels Full Throttle came out. Any guesses?
I'm gonna get real
40.
angry. I'll tell you that.
Right?
What do you think?
She was like in her 40s.
Megan, Matt, any guesses?
No, I'm too full of
Just
rage
enraged.
to say a number. Yeah.
She was 40.
I'm not going to guess at that.
Yes, I remember.
41.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right. Because I was like, 40s is not old. What is
It
happening?
is not at all. It is not at all. And well, now, and not to get old, but like where you see people now and people in their 20s modifying their bodies and getting these procedures done that are making them look like somebody in their 40s, because it's common for somebody in their 40s plus to get procedures to look younger. And so now it's like this weird yo-yo is happening.
That's what I was going to say, is that when that movie came out, it was kind of like that prime, like Maxim men's culture garbage, right?
Yep.
So that's, and it seems like since then that unfortunate window just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking to the point where, like, she was 41 there. Now if you're 35, now you're the mom. If you're 33, now you have to play the mom on the sitcom.
I have a bird. That's all I have at 35. I am a mother of one. My bird.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, yes, that's what you like. Yeah,
from a TV perspective. Yeah, perfect example. There's that new sitcom with Tim Allen. I hate to bring him up, but it's Tim Allen and Kat Dennings.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
just be miserable there.
And Kat Dennings is playing the divorced mother of two that has to come home to dad because she has no place else to go. And
and it's like it's Kat
go.
Dennings. Oh, the way
You're like, no.
What show was she on? Because the one that got canceled, because we could have had 50 seasons of that. Dollface.
Yeah,
that was fantastic, and that was like a 20-30 something, like trying to find herself, and after a long-term relationship where she cut off all her friends and then basically goes back to them and kind of has to fix all that, and then you follow all of them. Wow, much more interesting.
This is a good. This is a perfect time to bring up how men in this movie are portrayed, which is hungry. Like, that's it. Every dude in this wants something. Every dude in this, like, here, it's interesting because you keep coming back to the idea of Elizabeth Sue want to be loved. Like, they both have one of the connecting things is love, but what they're actually getting is not love, it's desire. It's hunger. It's wanting to be consumed and move on to the next one. That one scene near the end where Sue has already pulled some of her front teeth out and she's lost it, and she's just walking down the hallway. And we'll talk about Dennis Quaid's Harvey, which is an interesting name for this character, where he's with all the he said all the shareholders, and they are all like the same dude. Some white balding dude in his 60s or 70s, some lecherous guy. They're all like, I'm not like seeing this, because the whole thing is, even as she's trying to move through, all these like showgirls walk by, and these guys are already distracted by this line of other, like their new darling is already lost some of her luster. He has to tell her to smile, which he doesn't want to do. He just wants her to be his perfect little smile. What was he say? Pretty girl smile. You know, not subtle, but like the movie is very clear, and he's the biggest example. That one beginning scene where we see him eating those like shrimp or prawns, and it's just one of the grossest things ever put.
I was gonna say,
and that's him. He's just all he is appetite. All he wants to do is, what can you do for me? You know, you're not a shrimp I want to eat anymore, Demi. I want a younger shrimp. You know? and I appreciate the movie, again, as a movie not being subtle, because I think fairy tale KP is a really good way to say that. Like, that is just like, no, you're searching for something you're never going to get here, and she doesn't realize that. And that's part of the sadness, is like, no, there's no love. There's never any love here. And I love that you brought up that she's alone too, because I'm like, she has no one to say, honey, you're fine. Like, nobody ever comes to check on her when either of them disappear for a week. No one gives a shit, except for, I guess, the next door neighbor who wants to bang Sue. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad he gets yelled at by a creepy version of Elizabeth. I'm like, good. You deserve to be scared back into your apartment, buddy. Stay in there.
You know, I totally forgot about him too. You know, out of all the things that are so easy to remember, him, he was forgettable.
Well, that's his whole point. This dude is the most mid that ever mid. And he thinks that, but he's like, I'm handy, baby. You know, I'm like, do you want to have a drink? Here's a buddy. No. But he feels entitled to her time. He goes up to the door and he's talking. He says, I can see you through the eye. I know you're there. Even with, and like, he won't take, like, gross, man. Gross. Yeah, she's never, at no point does either versions of our character give him a, yes, come on. And yet he's still there.
Well, and most of the other men, like, in this too, are just like slugs of men, but with the highest level of confidence. And it's and you know, then you see Elizabeth being like, girl, I want you to look in the mirror and like then look over here and be like, oh, okay.
I was like, listen, I don't want to judge these dudes, but I'm judging these dudes hard. They are like
personality puts them right in the negative.
Thumbs. Yeah, that's
no disrespect to the actors. You did your job very well. I'm like, is this the same guy? Is this a different guy? I don't know.
There's a genre of guy that looks like a thumb or a testicle, and that's just their lot in life, and they're always gross.
And they're the ones with all the opinions. They're the ones with all of the opinions.
Yeah,
exactly.
Joe Rogan is the Earth testicle. Like, he is the if you look at him, you're like, oh yeah. Yes, that is testicle zero. That is a testicle that gains sentience, and now he just talks about MMA and supplements and whatever other bullshit. That's him. But there's a whole genre of those guys.
Put it over here.
They're just walking testicles.
I'm sorry, the Earth testicle. Oh god. All thumbs. Lip. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? We can get into the body horror now, because I mean, it starts fairly soon, and you think. This is as gnarly as it'll get, right? If you see a human emerge from the back of another human, and you're like, "Oh, this is it. If I can handle this, I can handle the rest of the movie." Can you?
No. Right. I'm not. But like the way she directs is just everything is just so tight. So you're just so uncomfortable. Like she's gonna make you be involved, and like. Again, the lack of dialogue, and I think like sound design, and then the visual.
I was just gonna say the sound design. Yes,
you know, you see the back moving, so you can feel it yourself. You're feeling how these things feel. You're just in it, and I'm like, damn you!
Seriously, that's what got me the most. Is like, okay, the visuals are one thing, but the sound, and I'm glad that you pointed out the sound design, because I was just like. If anything, like even if I close my eyes, which I did, well, even if I close my eyes, you can still hear
wet crunching.
There's no escape.
It's so right. There's no escape. And so it's like it is so. I'm like, I appreciate that, but also why? But like, I mean, I know why. But also, I was was just sitting there and just going, it's so, and again, getting also into themes here, it's like she is basically like kind of like just throwing yourself away, but it's so violent to do that to yourself. To part with oneself is very violent. And so like the sound again, give it up to the sound department. Hate you, but love you at the same time. It's a hate love relationship. Is just it was just amazing.
What I thought was interesting, right? Because you're saying like throw herself away, and she does, but it's so weird because you have to take like the whole point, like the way the substance is like set up, like that even comes with suture stuff. So the perfect version can like sew them up and then feed them. And then and then you have that whole line where Sue's whole little like line at the end of her workout is take care of yourself. She's saying the words that she will not do for herself. And we see with like a physical metaphor of the fact that how she's like, well, I'll just build a room to tuck me into, and then I'll just put a bunch of like crap in there, and I'm going to take down the photo of me. So she's doing everything that is the opposite. Like, 'cause I'm wondering, how does this work if you actually cared? But of course, I don't think you'd use this substance if you cared.
No,
that's
the point.
There's just no way that goes.
Because we see that when Elizabeth runs into the old man in the diner, who's the other version of
the ER
mannequin doctor.
No, I love that because you're like, because I was curious, how does this work for other people? Turns out, not really. If you're willing to trade half of your remaining life for some other version of you that you won't even remember to exist, well, you already are not in a great relationship with yourself. And I thought that was interesting to see that little like, oh no, that doesn't go great, does it? No. actually hauls her body. Like the fact that she just each of them start dealing with themselves like worse, dragging themselves around. And it's perfect because it what's the word? Accelerates. Very quickly at a certain point where they just are just. They hate each other, and it's them.
No lights in the closet, just nothing.
Right?
It's just like
no lights
on the bathroom floor, which was
not a blanket.
Not
a blanket ever.
Nothing. Oh, that's the other thing. That was also, I said that too. I was like, a blanket, nothing, just a pillow, something. Like, take care of your body. But of course, if she cared about her body, like she's doing the bare minimum. Like the fact that it also comes with, that's interesting too. It's like the fact that it comes with something to feed your body, knowing full well that if you're part of this program, you're not going to. Like, you're already like, I'm done with this version of me, right? It comes with stuff so that you can take care of it. Because otherwise, I'm like, how else are you? It's like, how else are you taking care of it? But at the same time, I'm like, okay, let's make sure that we also supply this for the people that are using our product, just in case. Yeah.
Well, it's that other part of the metaphor, which is like you can't run away from yourself.
You can't.
Like you can think, I'm the best version of me, but like you need your spinal fluid, which I guess is a metaphor for yourself. But I like that like no, you can't just get rid of one side.
Right.
Or the whole idea is like if you end it and you're in like your original, well, that whatever happened. The cost is the cost.
Right.
Like that. I appreciate that because I think that's part of it is the idea of like it really should be about like integrating yourself.
Oh, you're connected.
Segregating yourself out. Yeah.
You're one. You are one. That's the entire. That's the entire theme throughout the movie. Is you are one. And
those things you hate are you.
Right.
Even giving her a different name, like her coming up with a new name, and I'm like, oh no, and it's not even any nickname of Elizabeth. Like truly separation.
No,
well, you know what I mean? Like you think of like Liz, Beth, Lizzie, like even something that it's just a complete cut off. And new identity, and it's like, nah, you were set up to fail.
Okay, so a funny part with the body horror. So getting back to, because we started talking about
funny and
the
body horror.
The funny and body horror. This is the only part that made me laugh. Okay, because otherwise I'm like, nah. I'm sorry. I'm traumatized. So no. So when she's dancing, she's doing the dance routine, right? She bends over and there's and then now there's the thing is like they're all now trying to figure out what that was because they caught it on camera.
Yeah.
Like, viewing, and she's like, oh god. Like, and I'm just Yo.
Like, have you ever tried to put like Spanx on or a pile of makeup or like a shirt not the right size?
Yes.
I feel like that's the feeling of dread where you're like, the button popped and I breathed. You're like, now I got
Everyone's
all
gonna
day
see-
at work like this.
Everyone's gonna see my butt bubble. Yeah, I felt that. I was like, oh no.
I
They
know.
put it on the big screen.
Yes.
The entire crew go up
Oh
to
my
go, and they're like,
God.
5 seconds. They're like, just go frame by frame.
Just mortified. You
Like
can
the
see the
Zapruder
look in his
film.
heart breaks.
But I also love that because I'm like, yeah, Sue, it comes for you too. Like right there, like it's like there's no peace to be had, you know. There's
Yeah.
always an imperfection. It's not always a chicken drumstick that
Oh
you
my
move throughout your body
God.
and then pop up on your belly button. I was like, what is that? What is that? You know what? Would never have guessed. I'm gonna be honest, movie, you got me. 100
Yeah.
guesses, never would have said chicken drumstick.
It's gonna be a drumstick.
Even as it's coming out, I'm like,
I'm not sure. Not sure what that is. Okay. All right.
oh yeah.
So Jackie, is body horror for you? You think?
I think I'm a one and done.
You gotta watch the thing.
I have been
You gotta
telling.
watch the
I've
thing.
been saying. Listen. Okay. Every single conversation I have with people who are very much into horror films, I am someone's like, listen, I am, and this is, and I've been doing this over years. So before I say this next bit, you'll understand. So I've been easing my way into horror. Like I said, it's been years that I've been easing my way because this is not a way to ease yourself in. So I'm saying this has been a process. This has been a whole process.
Totally
So I was like,
understandable.
okay. So yeah. So I'm like, I do as much as possible. Like I'm like, I had to fully sit with this for a while. Before I could really be like, okay, wait, did we actually like the movie though? Did we actually like the movie? And I do. I've been recommending it to people also just with a fair warning. The thing, if body horror is not your thing, I would say maybe think about it. But other than that, it's like, again, the best movies, no matter what genre, if there is a message to be had, and it does and it executes it, that's how it executes that message well in the in the film. I feel as though it's a great movie. And so horror, really good horror, at least to me, like does that, when you have these films who are seemingly just like, again, on the surface, it just looks like you're watching something and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just like the shock after shock after shock. But it's to a point. It's to bring that message home about acceptance, body acceptance, or rejecting one's body, or all of these different themes. And so I was like, no, I actually really do appreciate and love that this film was exactly that. Now, the way in which it was executed, would it have been my decision? No. But at the same time, I'm not the filmmaker. So I just got to sit back and look at somebody else's work and appreciate it for what it was.
That's the fun thing about
And there you
genre.
Yes.
Like genre specifically, right? You take something deeply personal, and this actress, the director was like turning 50 and having lots of feelings about it.
Okay.
And then so she's able to put pen to paper and say, this is how I'm feeling, and let's just make it excess.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have to deal with these messy feelings that I can't do out in my everyday life because I have to control that. But let's just take it to excess, but it's still grounded because it's built on something real. And I think that goes back to wonderful casting with like Demi Moore, right? Because we've watched her entire career, and she's felt her own way, like about them and experience, and so you get that grounded performance in there.
Yeah,
and that's big shout out to Margaret Qualley because I haven't seen much of what she's been in, but I did watch Fosse Verdon. I was like, oh yeah, she is in that.
She was also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I did not watch that.
She's that's KP. That's fair. But yes, she's one of the what's his name?
The Manson Girls. That's what
Manson Girls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's the only. I believe that was the only thing that I had seen her in previously.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was the same way, and I was shocked. I was like, wow, she's fantastic with this.
Yeah.
I was really blown away. But Demi is another level.
Oh my god.
We're post Oscars now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was disappointing.
That
Because
was.
she absolutely, for everything that we've talked about, she that entire movie she plays against herself.
Yes.
You know, it's just her in a room. And absolutely, that the moments that you were talking about with the text messages and the rubbing the makeup and the
that was the moment for me that sealed it. Like
same,
yeah.
it gutted me sitting there. I was like, this is it just absolutely destroyed me, and I did not expect to feel that in this movie. Like I expected, you know, the social satire plus body horror plus that was what I was thinking. And then there's this piece in there, and it's the heart of it, and it just absolutely destroys you. And that's all to me by herself with a phone.
She can do this quiet devastation and then like over the top monstrousness all in the same film. You know, she can have the kitchen scene, which is hilarious, and then have that and they're all the same character, and you're like, yeah, it is all the same. These are all the things that she has inside going on, you know? These are all the different sides of this woman who hates herself.
Yeah. You can see the entire life. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Like Demi's, I've been fascinated about the choices she made. There was a couple years ago the Amanda Kramer film, Please Baby Please.
Yes.
Which some of us saw, right? And that
unlocked a memory. I forgot she was in that.
Right? What? Because it's a small independent film, and she just has this scene about this like neighbor upstairs who has a very interesting relationship with like her husband, and it helps like unlock stuff for her with the other characters. But I'm like, why? My first thought was like, why is she in this? And then I was like, because this is an interesting role, and she's now taking interesting roles, and it feels like stuff that she wants to do. Because this isn't like, this was never going to be an award thing. This Please Baby, it's a small independent odd genre-y film, but I can see why she would choose the role because it's meaty. It's dealing with this like what you would call an older woman at the time, and like her relationship with like desire and relationships and all that, and I appreciate that like real heavy, you know, like I love that these are the choices she's making because they're interesting, and I feel like this is stuff that she wants to do, and that's great to see, you know.
It's all going back to the stuff that she had to do for Full Throttle, right? Where it's kind of dealing with that whole, I'm on my comeback trail and all this other stuff, and having to be objectified for so long. And now she can just say, let's play with that and kind of deal with the fallout of that. And I think that's fascinating. I think that's so great that she's able to do it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's also like, it's interesting because it's really, the movie is like also kind of making fun of, I mean, it really is. It's actually making fun of like Hollywood, like the whole, that whole industry in and of itself, because number one, first off, we basically saw the plot of The Substance play out at the Oscars. Like when she didn't win the award, it's like she's being upstaged by a younger actress. Like this is the plot right here, y'all. Right here.
What a terrible denouement for the whole thing, right?
Like, oh my goodness. What the heck? But and then also too, like the other thing is like Margaret Qualley, on the other hand, she's doing all these interviews. I was like watching when it first came out. I started watching all these interviews, and the interviews at the interviewers at some point when they were some of these men were just asking like these really just invasive, creepy questions, and I'm like, so tell me you didn't see the film without telling me you didn't actually see the film, or just went completely, or if you did, it just went completely over your head, because I would have thought someone who's, you know, doing the research or at least trying, right, to learn, you know, from like what the movie's teaching, maybe you wouldn't ask such questions. Maybe you actually ask questions, you know, more about like her approach to the character and her, you know, actual job rather than, you know, her looks and all that. It was just really, and you can also see like on her expressions, like she's trying to be, you know, she's being professional, but at the same time, it's like you can tell she's creeped out. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And you'll find most of those people are deep as a puddle.
And they have an example of that in the film when she's on that
Yeah.
late night show.
Yeah.
And like
Which-
once again, like another character, this man, and he's just like, tell us all this stuff. And you know that Elizabeth, like every time I'm like, shut up. But like, but he's such a like everybody's kind of cranked up,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So he's like the worst version of that kind of like
Right.
late night / entertainment tonight kind of guy. Oh,
Yeah,
which
it's
brings me to the ending, because I know that some
Yes.
people like are you know, they have their own feelings. I'll explain this. What I like about the ending is I think that it is literally an explosion, but it is also all of a sudden this version of her is now putting her anger outwards, not inwards. After we have like, you know, the termination that isn't quite completed because she still can't let go, and then we have the Sue beating the crap out of Elizabeth, like just absolutely kicking her ass across that, right? But now we have this other. She learns the desperation. Sue learns the desperation. Injects herself with an activator. That has been very clear. The rules were laid out. You only use it once, right? And then we end up with Monstro Eliza Sue. This flesh amalgamation that absolutely seems very inspired by both the Elephant Man and the Fly, like just visually.
Yeah.
But that version, oddly enough, as I said, I think I did before, like seems to have a self-confidence the other two do not have. Because I think that version of her, all the anger is pushing outwards. She's like, all of you, because when they do not love her, she's expecting them to love her because that's what she's been told. If she shows up and does this special, like she was told as Sue, they will love you. The flowers and the note in the flower says they'll love you. When they do not, all of that anger and frustration, this all this like, I'm changing my body, my actual physical body for you people, and it's still not enough. Society has decided I am useless. It explodes outwards, and we get basically the prom scene from Carrie.
Yes.
Like just a room full of people trying to get out of the room as there is just like hoses of blood, and it is both funny to me because I'm broken.
Well, you're like, good for her. Good for her. But yes, man, what were you going to say?
But yeah, it's horrific, but it is also a release. Like, you're like, yes, these people need to be covered in the gore of what they're demanding. Like, this is what the cost of what you want. Right. Now it's back in your face. And I'm like, that's right, Monstro Eliza Sue. You're my favorite. You're my girl. You're my icon.
By the way, that's the moment that I embarrassed myself laughing at in the theater.
So you had the correct reaction.
Oh my god!
Everyone else was wrong.
Yes.
Sitting there, leaning forward in that stupid recliner chair, howling, laughing at just all of those rotten people getting absolutely blasted.
It's a good for her moment.
Yes, it is. Yeah, there were other people in the theater when I was watching too, also laughing. So I was like, okay, great. These are the people. Because I'm like, what in the world? Yeah. But it is.
It's early Peter Jackson. I miss you, buddy. I was going to say Lord of the Rings, but I miss you, buddy.
I hate to say I did have the thought, because at one point that held the record for most fake blood ever on screen. I was like, this had to have beat it. So yeah, there's a scene in Dead Alive where it's Peter Jackson's zombie movie. If you haven't seen it,
oh my god,
it's wild. But at one point, yeah, before Peter Jackson was like a prestige filmmaker, he made absolute schlock, and it's great.
Oh, it's great.
See our previous episode about Meet the Feebles.
Oh, good.
Or don't. Actually, Jackie, don't.
It broke that. Yeah, no.
That scarred Vanessa beyond.
Yeah.
Oh
my god, got pretty messed up. Not me.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Meg and I are thoroughly broken people. So at one point, there's a lawnmower that he's just tearing through piles and piles of zombies, and everything is just exploding in geysers of blood.
Yep.
And at that point, they're like, oh no, this is, I can't remember how many hundreds of gallons of fake blood.
I'm sure.
And probably right up until now, it held the record.
That was a lot. Because I was also like, how long is this scene? How long are they taking this? Because I was just like, it was just blood and just so much, and then it just keeps going. Then she leaves the stage, and it's still. And I'm like, all right, so how long y'all gonna pick this up?
No, just keep going.
Okay.
Tim Robinson levels of long.
And it's still
Okay,
going.
now you've got me on a wild goose chase. Okay,
Really?
so
Chill
Evil Dead
out with Zack
2013.
Snyder or Zack Snyder.
Okay,
because
because
he takes things
Oh.
way
way too far.
way too
Evil,
far.
Evil Dead 2013 is what came to my mind. 70,000
Oh,
gallons of blood
that was
there.
a lot. That was a lot.
That was a lot of blood.
I'm remembering the end. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Oh my god.
Blood. But yes,
Well-
I'm working on it.
While
Okay,
you look
no,
that up-
the
oh,
substance
good.
is 21,000 liters, which is only 5,500 gallons.
Only 55. Yeah. I mean, compared to the 70,000, of course. But yeah.
So
Just
let's
try
be honest.
harder.
that is incredible that she was able to capture 5,500
much?
gallons of,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
blood and make it look like
You see
a
every
tanker truck.
ounce on
Lord.
screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dead Alive, any guess?
It's so much. It's so much.
It's only 80 gallons.
What?
So
Well, he did
Evil
so-
Dead was 70,000
Wow.
gallons.
That is-
That's what happens when you have a
50,000 for the
budget.
final scene alone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's what
that
happens
is
when you have a
true. That is
budget.
true.
Oh my
But yes,
god.
so now we know we've done a little bit of looking of the fake.
Yeah.
blood, but
And
yes.
I just have to bring up the very final thing, because I think it does kind of come back to both an incredibly ridiculous image, but I think one that actually is also very poignant at this very end, because Monster Eliza Sue basically falls apart as it is escaping from the studio, and the
Ugh.
bits and pieces are falling off, and then all you have left is Elizabeth's face, who's been on the back this entire time, witnessing but unable to do anything but just open mouth, not even scream, silently scream, kind of trapped in her own decisions and the world around her, right? But at the very end, this need she has to be loved is so strong that just her face crawls over to where her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is. And I'm both this is sad, but also I guess this is always how it was going to end, because her face just kind of crawls over to the star, and then she looks up and she sees the palm trees. It's interesting that she sees three, almost because of the three versions of herself, because sometimes we'd seen two, and and then she just sees what she experiences as golden sparkles, which keeps coming back to her as how she experiences what she thinks is love. There's a snow globe of her that's golden sparkles. We've seen that imagery before, and this very last moment, she sees the stars and the golden sparkles, and she's on her star, and she almost has a moment of peace before she just dissolves to the ground. And then in the morning, I said it has to be, it can't be rain because that would be too much. No, it's just a street sweeper, because it doesn't even matter that she was there, because that's how the industry works. You know? And I thought, again, we kind of visually, everything came together in. She both wanted this so badly, but in the end it didn't even matter. And her star's there, but no one cares anymore, because that's how fame is. And if that's how you measure your worth, not that she's not worthless, but she saw herself as, because she was always seeking external instead of internal.
Yeah, she bought fully into the commodification, and
Yeah.
that's how it always is going to end when you do
But
that.
not Monster Eliza Sue. She knew her worth.
She knew it was up.
She did.
Yeah.
That was incredible. So I guess it doesn't really have. I'm sure these won't be our final thoughts about this movie ever, because it's going to live with us.
It's living. It's forever.
Forever.
It's in there. It's in there. It's a
But-
part of me. It's now.
For our conversation tonight, do we have any
Yeah.
final thoughts?
Oh man. I mean, I
Take
feel like
care of yourself.
no, take care of yourself. Take care of
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. You're one.
You're a one. No, really. I think I've exercised at least some of this movie out of my butt. At least the most gross, especially that last part. I almost forgot. I almost did. Megan brought us back. Megan brought us back.
Always
But
does.
it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I
No, I'm
assume-
sorry.
Listen, no, it's all good. It is all good. Yeah, I guess for me, just like everything about this film, it does such a great job in again, just like all of the themes expressed. Demi should have gotten an Oscar.
No doubt.
That is my thing. It's like she should have gotten an Oscar for this. And then Also, it did though get an Oscar, I believe, for makeup and
did.
hairstyling. Yeah.
It did.
So so I was like, okay, shout out to arts department for sure. But yeah, it is an incredible film. Just again, you all have been warned now. Of like what to expect.
Yeah, there's one big goopy asterisk next to it when you tell people to go watch
Big
it.
goopy asterisk.
It's her face at the end.
Oh
It
my
looks like
god.
I'm a monster.
I know. Listen, when I tell you, the minute I got home, I put on, I think it was Across the Spider-Verse. I had to.
Oh,
I was like, Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. So I want that to be the last thing that I think about before I go to sleep right now, because I can't with this film. I was like, listen, and I was right. Like, I'm driving home and I'm like, again, the goal was not to be sad. The goal was not to be sad, and you were not sad. I also talked to a staff member afterwards, because he's like, what did you think? And I was like, dude, I don't even know. I don't know what to say to you right now. I don't know what to say to you right now. I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch Across the Spider-Verse. That's the plan. That's the plan. My favorite movies, that entire franchise, until we get beyond the Spider-Verse. But like, no, I was like, oh my God. And then even waking up the day after, I was like, what have I done? What have I done? Oh yeah. Funny story. Just a quick little thing. As we wrap up, and of course I'm taking over. But like,
You're great.
I texted. So there's a number of things. I talked to a staff member. I kind of sat there and was like, I don't know what to think right now. And then I texted. I do remember texting Matt and Adam and being like, so this is how I spent my birthday. I just came out of the substance. And then so they're like, what did you think? And I go, well, it was either this or Sing Sing, and I chose the substance. And they're like, and I forget which one of them asked me, well, did you know it was going to be a body horror? Nope, first time. And then Matt immediately goes, no. Like, yes, it is.
I'm hearing it in his voice.
I was going to say, I can picture the face. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Just eyes wide.
Like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, yeah, I only have myself to blame. It's fine. Listen, the goal, again, was not to be said.
Yeah. Cannot be stated enough. The goal was met.
The goal was met. So expectations. There you go. That's it, right? So it was definitely an interesting birthday. The last time I went to go see a film on my birthday, I made my mom come with me to watch Prisoners, by Denis Villeneuve. So that was fun for her. And so like she was like, Jackie, why would you bring me to this movie? I was like, it was so good though, So anyway, because I'm a little broken too. But anyway.
Yeah.
You're among friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, compare Prisoners. I mean, they're two very completely different movies. I don't know, but so that's my speed.
So we really have to figure out. We have to look at the release schedule next year around your birthday and just see if there's like a nice, just fun comedy or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something smooth. Not too many crunchy, spiky things.
It's right, because and I'm like, there is nothing. I don't know if there was anything else really, because I was looking. And I was like, no, I specifically want to be at the little theater because, like, it's just comfy. That's my home away from home, right? And like, I wanted to spend time there. And again, I think Sing Sing was the only other one because I remember looking. I usually try to go see a movie either on or around my birthday in September, and really, I don't think there was anything else that I was interested in seeing.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's Adam's fault, really.
It is Adam's fault.
Yeah, we can
Adam, why? Why do you do this?
You.
Dear Adam, threw you under the bus on the bus.
I'm looking to see what was out at that time, and it was slim pickings.
Yeah, for real. Like
very slim.
Was it the year before or 2 years before? It was The Woman King. I was like, obviously.
Yeah, mine too.
Obviously, I'm watching it
out on my birthday. I was like, Mom, we're going.
Right. See? Oh my God. Yeah. So no, that last year was just. I'm like, this is what I got. So we're doing it. We're doing it.
We'll work on Adam and see if we can't get something programmed for September for you that doesn't
just for me. Yes.
steal your soul. Yeah. The Adam that we're speaking of is our programmer as well for the Anomaly Film Festival coming this November 5 through 9. That's the 5th through the 9th if you're fancy. We'll be at the Little Theater this year. We're just going to jump right into the gross promotion. But yeah, so we are at Anomaly. We are Anomaly. We are at the Little, the 5th through the 9th. We'll also be at the Dryden for another night. I know that plans
We've
are
already started
in the
previewing
works.
stuff. Yeah. We already have some possibilities on the list. Oh my God. That's all I'll say.
Jared Case, bless him, is going through that archive and digging up every single thing that probably has never screened there before, may never screen there again, and it is absolutely Anomaly material every single time. He gets us in a way that not many people do.
Guinea pigs?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I'll take it. If I get to sit there and watch weird stuff in the Dryden, I'm like, yeah, experiment. That's okay. I know who I am.
It blows my mind that stuff even lives there. It's so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're at the Little, the 5th through the 9th. Keep an eye out on anomalyfilmfest.com or all of our socials. That's Anomaly Film Fest. More news coming soon. This episode should be out by the time this happens. So Friday night, this is March the 5th. So it would be Friday the 7th. There is actually a screening of The Substance at the Little. If you'd like to see it after our discussion, there's a Q&A with
Something
local
after eating.
Yes, yeah. Have a big meal.
Have some
Go to the
shrimp.
cafe.
Have a big meal.
Fill up.
Get a big bucket of fruit punch and the biggest popcorn you can get. Sorry, Jackie. And go see The Substance. There's a Q&A afterwards with author Rachel Harrison. That'll be a blast. So check that out. Keep an eye out on socials for Anomaly. And then, Jackie, I'll give you the last word. What would you like to promote?
Yeah.
Yes. So I am, of course, as you've been listening, I'm Jackie McGriff. I'm the founder, director, and co-producer of Our Voices Project. We are a production company that focuses or centers the stories and lived experiences of Black, Brown, Indigenous peoples through visual storytelling and truth telling. We also have a podcast called Representation in Cinema. And we also hold panel discussions. We not only produce films, but then a lot of the issues that are brought up in each of the communities that I just explained. So the Black, Brown, Indigenous peoples, many of the issues that come up in those communities, we also like to get educators and community leaders and members talking about those issues from those communities to also have add an educational piece and also a community building and engagement piece to the experience as well. So yeah, you can find us at ourvoicesproject.com. You can sign up for our mailing list. We're on all the socials. Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube. Yes, ourvoicesproject.com.
Doing great work, Jackie. Thank you.
Yeah,
And thank you for joining us again. This is your second time.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure
Only
it's not as
repeat
long
guests.
for the third time. Because it's always such a pleasure. So thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank you.
For everybody else, thanks for listening, and we will see you
Yay.
at the Anomaly Film Fest. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.
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 This is where I look for the buttons because I'm not quite as professional as my partner.
This has been a presentation of the Lunchador Podcast Network.